But thus saith the Lord, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. For I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children.
Grand jury indictments, Gates' predictive contagion model dumped by U.S. Surgeon General, the liars in the media are losing their minds, Microsoft's satanic commercial taken down. Can it get any better? Well, things are getting worse for the enemy.
Despite what you're now hearing from, well, some in the media and some other people, despite the hopeful facts on the ground, there is a level of fear, hysteria, panic among many on the left. This frantic anxiety, it doesn't have to do anything with coronavirus, everything to do with how well the administration has handled the national crisis. Today, during a powerful press conference, President Trump rightfully tore them to shreds. Take a look.
We did all of this work, but when you read the phony stories, nobody acknowledges this. And it doesn't have to be acknowledged from my standpoint, but it does have to be acknowledged from the great work that these doctors, nurses, the Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, all these people, they've done this incredible job. And they shouldn't be abused. And I would love to be able to say that we have a very honest press. Honestly, John, there'd be nothing I would be more proud of if the press would work. And I don't mind being criticized, but not when they're wrong. Not when people have done a great job.
While President Trump was acting, protecting Americans from a future pandemic, Democrats obsessed with what? They were impeaching the president. The mob and the media cheering on their Democratic colleagues every step of the way. It is clear the media mob is full of liars. They have smeared, slandered, besmirched this president from the day he came down that escalator at Trump Tower with Melania Trump. They are propaganda outlets. They are state-run TV for the radical Democratic Extreme Socialist Party. They spread endless lies, conspiracy theories, one hoax, one conspiracy theory after another. Then when they lie, they never admit they're wrong. They just move on to the next set of lies. They are hateful. This is a destructive force for the country. I've been saying it now for 3 years. They have contempt for the American people because they think they're smarter. They think they know better. Donald Trump's success is their failure. And by extension, if the president fails, well, clearly that's what they want. Do they care about the damage they're causing the country? Apparently not. And they continue to cause damage. It's clear they have always wanted to defeat Donald Trump. 2016, what did they do? They helped Hillary as much as they could, ignoring her clear violation of the Espionage Act. Oh, yeah, the bleach bit and the deleted emails. Yeah, they ignored her obstruction of justice. They ignored her unverifiable, now debunked, dirty Russian dossier used to spy on a candidate and later a president. They ignored the biggest abuse of power corruption scandal in our history. They advanced one lie after another lie after another lie after a conspiracy theory and lie. And now they are ignoring quid pro quo Joe's misconduct and covering for zero experience Hunter, the whole Ukraine. Oh, we're against quid pro quos, but not Joe. You're not getting the billion unless you fire the prosecutor investigating my zero experience son that's getting paid millions. It's clear. We understand. They hate Donald Trump. They hate Trump.
That's right. They hate Donald Trump. They hate us for telling the truth. Thank you for Sean Hannity for putting that out. Well, we had a Q drop on that one, Q3953. We had John Durham is the Punisher. Look at that X-ray of John Durham. Absolutely amazing red-blooded patriot. Said Sean Hannity's rocking the Punisher lapel pin on his label. 5-5, pain coming. And there it is. Look at that. The Punisher pin right there on Sean Hannity himself. Well, we had Q3952, Countdown to Treason Trials, 54321, JPEG. And we also have Information Warfare, Q3958, dropped. Mac Files just happened to have them on a day or two before the video was released, and we had director Mike Smith right there on the top left and journalist Liz Crokin, part of the movie production. Outstanding.
Think for yourself, research for yourself, discern for yourself, and you will find the truth, because you know in your gut when you're being lied to, and you know when you're being told the truth.
Absolutely.
People know that. You have a gut, and when something's wrong in your gut.
Come on, Mike.
In my life in Hollywood as a stuntman, I had to trust my gut because I was risking my life, or I had people's lives in my hands. And if something was wrong in my gut, I knew something was wrong. So as I started waking up and going down these rabbit holes, my mind would tell me one thing, but my gut would tell me, wait, whoa, something's wrong here. That's what you got to do as an audience member. When you're watching, like,
just amazing. He said that's what we have to do as audience members. He just felt it in his gut, went out and produced this, and had Liz Crokin with him. And if you haven't seen the Mac Files, this interview, go in the description box below, and you can watch that interview. It is amazing, and talking about how it was all produced. I recommend definitely Christopher McDonald to everyone. He works very, very hard. And so we have Q3954, One Big Happy Family, the Democrat Party and mainstream media, and there they are. We've got Susan Rice married to ABC News' Ian Cameron. We've got Ben Rhodes, Obama administration, brothers with CBS News' David Rhodes. You've got Liz Sherwood, Obama administration, married to ABC News' Ben Sherwood. And you got Valerie Jarrett down below, Obama administration, his mother and daughter of CNN, Laura Jarrett. And the connections just keep coming. Well, there's missing 29 connections that are national. And they don't have the 98 connections that are actually local. So very interesting.
People should be more concerned right now with the flu in this country.
A lot of people are concerned about the coronavirus because they're hearing a lot of news about it right now. But the reality is, comparing it to the flu, for example, it's not even close to being at that stage.
What if it is worse? Is this a moment where maybe countries put politics aside, a little bit of pride aside, and do we have U.S. officials? Should U.S. professionals such as yourself get involved?
How worried should Americans be about coronavirus?
Coronavirus is not going to cause a major issue in the United States.
Well, when President Trump was standing up the other day in front of everyone, he played this video for the media right in front of their face. It was amazing. It's something I've been hoping for, actually, since he became president. Just play clips of their lives right in front of them. Well, the media had their probably little bugs in their ears. And, of course, immediately they jumped on it and said, who produced this campaign video is what they called it, so they can get all of those folks that are brainwashed, believing that President Trump is not who he says he is, on their side. They need something to destroy him. They just can't handle the truth. Well, Gregor's had this out, Gregor's for USA, even though we all expected it. John Solomon just confirmed seconds ago on Sean Hannity's radio show that multiple D.C. grand jury subpoenas have been issued on behalf of U.S. Attorney John Durham. Isn't that great? That was a Q post 3933 with that particular link. And 3934, we have the indictment tracking placeholders. Get your placeholders out, folks. Indictments tracking non-civilian set 1 through 6, and then indictments tracking civilian. Then we have acts of treason plus support articles and foreign acts and FISA. It's pretty cool. Well, they're starting to freak out in the media, and we're going to talk about that even more. Eric Carmen, well, I guess this explains today's attack on real Donald Trump. Check this out now that they're being exposed.
China, why are there no consequences for China for the misinformation
How do you know
that
there
they
are no
shared?
consequences?
We've been asked, and
How do you know there are no consequences?
What are the consequences, Mr. President,
I
for the
wouldn't tell you.
misinformation?
China will find out.
But
Why would I tell you?
People are concerned that they stonewall.
No, you started
that
off by
they
saying, why are there no
misinformation.
consequences?
You've asked this a few times, so following up on your response. Why are there no
How do
consequences
you
for
know
China?
there are no
Because we
consequences?
asked you,
You're
and
going to
you've
find
said-
out.
you've said
I
that
wouldn't
you
tell
did
you.
not.
You'd probably be the last person on earth I'd tell. Go.
You're the last person on earth I'd tell. She was being very, very rude to the president. Never have we seen anything like this and mistreatment of a president in my lifetime. And Eric Harmon put this out and said that, check this out. Fake news hater Paula Reed's husband, Jason Reed, is a lobbyist for China. Worked at the American Chamber of Commerce in China. Went to college at Peking University in Beijing, China. Boy, she is not happy. She's letting him have it, and she's losing her grip.
Instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody knows what's going on there. American taxpayers provide between $400 million and $500 million per year to the WHO. In contrast, China contributes roughly $40 million a year, and even less. As the organization's leading sponsor, the United States has a duty to insist on full accountability. One of the most dangerous and costly decisions from the WHO was its disastrous decision to oppose travel restrictions from China and other nations. They were very much opposed to what we did. Fortunately, I was not convinced and suspended travel from China, saving untold numbers of lives. Thousands and thousands of people would have died. Had other nations likewise suspended travel from China, countless more lives would have been saved. Instead, look at the rest of the world, look at parts of Europe, other nations and regions who followed WHO guidelines and kept their borders open to China, accelerated the pandemic all around the world. Many countries said, we're going to listen to the WHO, and they have problems the likes of which they cannot believe.
That's true. It's like some which they can't believe, and he took them out. We're going to talk about them because Q dropped this, Q3963. Symbolism. An informed, awake public holds all the keys. Q, and what's it have to do about this? Director General of the World Health Organization and Shiva the Destroyer. Familiar with that right there? Shiva the Destroyer? Let's talk about that. So, Twitter, we had Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, WHO guy who runs the place, sick person. WHO and China have enjoyed a long, productive partnership. WHO is proud to have supported the overseas training of more than 2,000 Chinese health workers. Is that right? Grateful for China's commitment to strengthening health systems in other countries through its Belt and Road Initiative. So he puts that tweet out. And what is sitting right there on the end of the table? We're going to talk about that even more. It is sick. It's sick that they even have it at the table. IV7 put this out. CERN, WHO, better catch up on your CERN history. Well, this particular statue is at CERN in Switzerland. In 2004, a 2-meter statue of the dancing Shiva was unveiled at CERN, the European Center for Research in Particle Physics in Geneva. The statue, symbolizing Shiva's cosmic dance of creation and destruction, was given to CERN by the Indian government to celebrate the research center's long association with India. Some will say, well, it's just a statue. It's not that big of a deal. Let's keep going. Shiva, Sanskrit, Siva or Siva, one of the main deities of Hinduism, whom Shaivites or Vites worship as the supreme god. Among his common epithets are Shambhu, Shankara, Mahesha, and Madhava. These are great God, great Lord, beneficent, and benign. So we go further. Shiva's represented in a variety of forms in a pacific mood with his consort Parvati. And you keep reading down further, and I underlined half male and half female. Where have we heard that before? He is both the great ascetic and master of fertility, and he is the master of both poison and medicine. A herdsman, or at times the merciless slaughter of the beasts that are the human souls in his care. Destruction of the human souls in his care. And there it is at their table. Well, let's go a step further. Putting this particular model in front of CERN in Switzerland, I typed in Abaddon, Switzerland, and CERN popped up. Abaddon, A-B-A-D-D-O-N, and I look at their symbol, and it's something very interesting. Let's draw right here, and you'll notice, if we can make this thick enough for you, we will go right about there, yep, and we'll have, let's see, this goes around like this. There's a 6. Let's go around like this. There's a 6, and let's go around like this. 6. 666. Ah, very interesting. And as we go a step further, we're going to talk about this Abaddon. Apollyon the Destroyer, a large portion of CERN is located in the territory of St. Genus Poli. In Roman times, it was called Apollicum. The town and a temple were dedicated to Apollyon the Destroyer, Shiva, Horus. CERN 666. Revelation 9:11 says, "And they had as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon." Abaddon, Switzerland, CERN, Abaddon in Revelation. Red Pill Productions at Revolve 88 said CERN gets its name from Sonoranus, which is Abaddon, Lucifer, and Shiva, the Destroyer. No wonder they have a statue of Shiva right outside of CERN. Something else I noticed while doing this research, Cernunnos, if you look right there on this particular image, what is that thing sitting on? This stone. Notice, we're going to draw again. What do we have here? It goes around like this, like that, like that. Not a cube, but just a circle. And that looks awful familiar to this symbol on the left. Does anybody know what that symbol is? Well, if you watch that movie, Out of the Shadows, they give a detailed description of that particular symbol related to children and something very sick. Well, the capstone in Georgia has engravings on each of its sides in 4 different ancient languages: Babylonian, cuneiform, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphs. The engraved message translates as, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason." As a Sanskrit. That's what we're talking about. On the very Georgia Guidestones, well, there's a mysterious monument in Georgia which gives instructions in 8 languages on how to rebuild society after an unknown apocalyptic event, whilst also functioning as a compass, calendar, and clock. Truthhammer said Shiva was a symbol of their plan to destroy the current order and build a new one of the ashes of the old, and cut world population from about 7.5 billion to 0.5 billion, just 6.66666% of the current population. 93.3% would have to go make away. So you've got CERN in Abaddon, Switzerland. You've got the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, where the angel of the bottomless pit, there's a king there. We go a step further. CERN discovers satanic human sacrifice taking place in Large Hadron Collider grounds. So, basically, the satanic human sacrifice has been staged in the grounds of the European Organization of Nuclear Research, the home of the Large Hadron Collider. So, basically, they were supposedly messing around. A CERN spokesman confirmed the video had been filmed there, but said that it had been made without permission or knowledge. So, basically, they had a fun ceremony and recorded it on video and tried to scare everyone. Well, remember this? Newsweek had a magazine out with the cover of this traitor on the left, and they put God of all things. Look familiar? Crushing man underneath the foot. Same God. Well, look what else we had from magazines. New American had Obama as the Messiah. And Newsweek, again, said the second coming, as if this guy is the Messiah. These people are sick. Well, let's continue with COVID. Worldwide deaths, COVID-19 is 46,000. Seasonal flu is 121,000. Don't forget, malaria is 246,000 deaths. Suicides 269. Let's go all the way down to abortion, which has 10,665,130 deaths a year. But we're quarantined. Our rights are being stripped away to stop this virus, this invisible enemy. We believe now we're part of the Q movement, those that have been following, that we're being protected from those that would want to cause more destruction because they're trying to cover their tracks and stop all the information coming out about them. And I recommend you go to the description box below. I put all 4 parts of Fall Cabal, the documentary about COVID-19 by Janet Osabar. Just amazing how she covers detailed information. And she's the one that uncovered Bill Gates' connection to the Y family. Check this out. Q3961 also had, my next piece is called Nothing Can Stop What's Coming. You're witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard, and they're panicking, folks. I put this quote from a story. We're doing an investigation. The president answered to a question about Tedros ouster, about who WHO is out. I don't know the gentleman, but I know there's been problems. Democrats slammed Trump for the move of removing WHO, saying this was not the time to stop cash for health. Patrick Leahy, the ranking Democrat on Senate Appropriations Committee, said not wanting to take responsibility as the deaths continue to mount. He blames others. And Trump enemy Adam Schiff said international cooperation on public health has never been more critical. Freezing funding for the WHO will only make it worse. Is that right? So defunding a destruction goddess symbol that they have on their meetings and praising that destruction, oh, it's just a statue. That's more than that. We're starting to find out more about these sick people, in my opinion. Mind-boggling how pandemic planning never accounted for a president like Trump. These are lines from the media itself. U.S. may have to endure social distancing until 2022 if no vaccine is quickly found, scientists predict. So they're trying so hard to get this vaccine from Bill Gates into everybody's system so they can track us all, kill us all. No peak yet. U.S. deaths set single-day record. Spread to humans by dogs, not bats? Oh, now we're going to be afraid of our dogs, right? Well, social distancing may be needed until 2022. They just continue with these sick headlines. But to squash it all, Dr. Rashid A. Buttar put this video out, and I wanted you to hear his excitement so I don't have to read it, but basically refers to plans to reopen U.S. Surgeon General Adams dumps Gates' predictive contagion model. This is exciting. Listen to this.
All right, it says, in a stunning turn of events, Surgeon General, this was just released a couple of hours ago, I guess. I must have been on my live stream, so I wasn't even aware of it. And there's a picture of, here, I'll just show you guys from Instagram. You can see that the picture of President Trump with a smile on his face, and the Surgeon General. He just looks like such a stud standing there, but listen to what he said. All right, I'm just going to read this off to you guys. I am so unbelievably excited right now. In a stunning change, major plans to reopen, U.S. Surgeon General Adams dumps Gates' predictive contagion model. All right, so they've basically taken the contagion model and they've dumped it. And it says, in a stunning turn of events, Surgeon General Jerome Adams, Jerome Adams explained in an interview on Live XM Radio that the coronavirus task force has effectively dumped Bill Gates, the Centers for Disease Control, and the World Health Organization predictive contagion model, and is now working with the real data. I'm going to say it again. The Surgeon General, in a stunning turn of events, Surgeon General Jerome Adams explained in an interview on Live XM Radio that the coronavirus task force has effectively dumped the Bill Gates Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization predictive contagion model and is now working with the real data. He explained on Sirius XM, Breitbart News host Alex Marlowe, that given the new data, businesses will begin to reopen as early as May, others in June. As early as May, we're already open and we're going to continue to be open. This runs contrary to the fear-mongering of Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates, who have made a media tour threatening the public that businesses may not reopen for 6 months to a year or unless governments purchase the conveniently patented big pharma vaccinations. According to Adams, what the American people need to know is we actually have data, and so we're tracking that data. Before his about face, which appears to have come as an order from the Trump administration, hoo-yah! And in consultation with the findings of Dr. Adams, the task force was working with predictive models which have been created by the Bill Gates-dominated World Health Organization and the Centers for Disease Control.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Robert Christmas Stone, on Facebook for sharing that. We'll put in the description box below. So much excitement there. Well, we had Robbie Starbuck say Democrat Michigan State Rep Karen Whitsett to real Donald Trump. Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be here.
If we could start with you, Representative, and congratulations. It's an incredible story. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. It's such an honor to be here, and it's such an honor to be here amongst all of you survivors. I just can't say how wonderful it is to see your face, and thank you for everything that you have done. I did not know that saying thank you had a political line. I didn't know that. I thought just saying thank you meant thank you. And I do. I sincerely appreciate that, because had you not brought this to the forefront of the HQ, of being able to put this out here, I wouldn't be here today to even have this conversation with you.
That's amazing. Had you not brought the hydroxychloroquine to the forefront, I wouldn't be here today to have this conversation. Well, how does the media react to all this? They don't want hydroxychloroquine. Their orders have been given to them by the folks that run this world. They put out Rita Wilson, warned she experienced extreme side effects after taking chloroquine. Wilson said she was not sure if the drug worked or if her fever broke naturally. However, regardless of whether the drug worked, she said she thinks it caused extreme side effects that made her nauseous, dizzy, and weakened her muscles. The drugs previously proven to treat infections such as malaria have been issued an emergency use authorization, which is still not in full approval for the drug's treatment for the coronavirus. Health officials told Wilson and Hanks they are now immune to the virus as the couple volunteers to donate their blood to study working on developing a what? A vaccine. So, you know, folks, we know many in this world worship these idols. They'll listen to anything that they say. The satanic enemy knows this, and that's why they continue to put these puppets out in front. Well, I found it interesting because Tom Hanks was actually the one that switched on the repaired Large Hadron Collider at CERN. Did you know about that? He did that back in 2009, it looks like. You remember he gave that speech? He gave that speech about the gate had to be good before you could move on. And then he said Cecil B. DeMille himself up in that voice of God chair. All right, that's wonderful cut. Check the gate. And he said, I have checked the gate. The gate is good. We always wondered what that gate was. Some folks thought it was gates. Maybe it's the CERN gate. The gate to something more sinister than we can imagine. It's just a lot of guesswork. Don't want to get these guys too much publicity, but I tell you, it's been really interesting because that Tommy G uncovered this Saturday Night Live model video that he came out supposedly and gave from his house. He said, I know you guys like these 20-part threads exposing stuff, but I'm confident this one will end up being the most shocking and important of them all. I don't think that Tom Hanks was on Saturday Night Live Saturday. Well, you're going to have to go in the description box below and read all of them. I just wanted you to check a few things on this that I thought was interesting, just as a sidebar. Now let's do it. We have 100 anomalies with Hanks already in the last month. Barcode on a door, photoshopped cup in the plate on Australia, wife posting cryptic stuff, son losing his mind, social media disappearance, plane pics, etc. Now, out of nowhere, he pops up to host SNL. That's weird. Well, the day after Hanks hosts SNL as a CGI plant, Marina Abramovich, high priestess of the satanic Hollywood cult and inventor of spirit cooking, does a virtual reality CGI commercial for Bill Gates' company. So interesting. They got this, and then they show CGI from Microsoft, and we believe that this was CGI'd, and I can tell you a lot more. We had the kitchen, what was strange, the symbolic comments, the prison haircut, physical anomalies, and more. And I'll tell you, I've done a lot of green screen work in my career. And one of the things that he noticed I thought was great was when you shave your head bald, it keeps you from having to worry about the hair that is difficult to cut out with a green screen. Why have him bald? Why have his hands in one pic on the bottom left here? Notice his hands look pretty old, and on the right, the hands look anywhere from 16 to maybe 40. And that's what he came up with. If you read all of the description below, you will see how Tommy G uncovers the amazing way that we figure out more and more some of these strange things about this guy. All right, enough of Hanks. Really nice work, Patriots. Microsoft made this video private on YouTube because they got blasted so bad on downvotes that got up to 24,000 downvotes. Way to go. Well done. And thankfully, with all those downvotes, YouTube just couldn't take it anymore. Microsoft couldn't take it anymore. And they had to drop it because that satanic figure right there was being worshipped even by Microsoft. So ex-Clinton lawyer threatens to sue Nevada unless ballot harvesting permitted. As we pivot from all of this coronavirus stuff, we notice they're still talking about the elections, and Q also had pain and panic with this particular link and story. The president said, get rid of ballot harvesting. It is rampant with fraud. The USA must have voter ID, the only way to get an honest count. And that is exactly right. Ballot harvesting, or the practice of allowing political operatives and others to collect voters' ballots and turn them in masse to polling station, has drawn bipartisan concerns of fraud from election watchers. You got that right. Some prominent examples of ballot harvesting have already impacted national politics. In 2016, California Governor Jerry Brown signed into law AB 1921, which legalized ballot harvesting. Previously, only a family member or someone living in the same household was permitted to drop off mail ballots for a voter, but the new allowed anyone, including political operatives, to collect and return them for a voter. The move apparently led to results, because in 2018, despite holding substantial leads on Election Day, many Republican candidates in California saw their advantages shrink and then disappear, as late-arriving Democratic votes were counted in the weeks following the election. Many observers pointed to the Democrats' use of ballot harvesting as a key to their success in the elections. We don't have time for that video on the right, but California Condor said, it's an example of what happens when no voter ID is required and voter harvesting is allowed. Look at Orange County, California. I live there. I live here. There are 2/3 conservatives. Just talk to the people on the street. But Dems won by a 250,000 absentee ballots that kept coming for 30 days after Election Day. They cheat. That's the only way they can win. Democrats. Virginia governor signs legislation dropping voting restrictions. Q3962 had this one. They win by any means necessary. All assets will be deployed this election, including folks that were pro-Trump, all about the plan, and they did a switch. Now they've got people doubting the plan. They've got people that are big YouTubers who started out pretty small. Now they're up there, and they're telling folks, hey, I'm going to be the devil's advocate, or hey, I really don't know if this plan is working out the way that you guys see it. So planting those seeds of doubt, and I get those messages all the time now, asking me questions about those particular channels, and it hurts. We'll continue. Virginia will no longer require voters to show a photo ID prior to casting a ballot, and the state will join a handful of states across the nation and make an Election Day a state holiday. So, very interesting, right? Because you have to have a voter ID for an ID for many things. And Graphics Cartoon said this: if we use a government ID for purchase of alcohol, to get a driver's license, buy cigarettes, open a bank account, apply for food stamps, apply for a job or unemployment, rent or buy a house, board and plane, get married, then why is only voter ID racist and not the rest? Well, we go a step further. We had old B.O., the previous president, finally endorsed old Biden. Took you a while there, but yes, of course, you're proud to endorse Joel. This is from some chick at More Cowbell. Happy Best Friends Day to my friend, B.O. And the president put his hands to the chest, and everybody likes this one. They have the little quote under there. When I'm done, it'll be like you were never even here. Never even here. And that bracelet, something that many like to point out. If you look on that bracelet, there's Joe, there's Barack, and there's pizza. So, State 3959, State Department leaked cables renew theories on origin of coronavirus. So there was leaked cables that went out showing that there was something else nefarious going on. But we had a link to Tom Fenton. State Department FOIA office is also shut down due to coronavirus. We were told to wait indefinitely now on all our requests for Spygate abuses.
Hey everyone, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton here at our offices here in Washington, D.C. We are still fighting for you during this coronavirus crisis. Of course, the FBI is using it as an excuse to shut down its transparency operations. They're telling us there'll be no FOIAs until at least March 30th, and maybe even longer than that.
That is so sad. So FBI Deep State uses coronavirus as an excuse to shut down the FOIA. It was amazing because James Woods put out this with the Punisher I put there to the right, like doctored FISA warrants against a presidential candidate in a national election. That kind of corruption, because he's referring to Obama, who said that we've got corruption going on now. Thank you, James Woods. Always good to hear from you. We're going to close with this. We had Z Ranch Lady put this out. This is what's happening. Notice the First Lady of the United States tweeted 2 tweets in order. As you know, she read a book to the children. And in those tweets, she had Happy Easter. While I'm not able to read to children during the White House Easter egg roll, I would still like to honor the annual tradition and share a reading from one of my favorite Easter's books, The Little Rabbit. Notice in number 1, she tells us the story about a little bunny that goes missing and almost dies and is rescued at the last minute. Think children. And in number 2, the last Easter egg in the video of pictures has a star halo. The star in the 10 position, the 10 o'clock position, is a tiny capital Q. Let's look at it right about there. Pretty amazing. Q3950, The Great Awakening, bigger than you can possibly imagine. God bless each and every one of you. Q.
Nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Father in heaven, we thank you so much for everything that you're doing for our country and around the world. Thank you for opening up so many eyes to the truth of what's been happening. We thank you for protection of our great president and the administration that surrounds him. We ask that you would continue to allow him to be so many steps ahead of everyone else, to destroy the enemy piece by piece. We ask that you would continue to bring out the truth, expose the enemy, and protect our minds, hearts, souls, each and every second of every day. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you like this video, please hit the like button and share. Sharing gets around the algorithms set up to destroy this channel by this platform. Thank you so much for the great comments below, and thank you for going to our store and grabbing the shirts and cups and what have you. It's wonderful. Thank you for the PayPal donations and all of the patrons. You are so wonderful for your sacrifice. Thank you. For now, this is LT with And We Know, signing out.
Se ti piace il nostro lavoro, lascia un like, iscriviti al nostro canale o blog. Unisciti al nostro canale Telegram per essere informato anche in caso di nuova censura. Where we go one, we go all.